pound for pound title. It's a prestigious one that admittingly means absolutely nothing. The concept behind it was, what if we took the champion at 125 pounds and paired him up, scaled perfectly to be a heavyweight, and paired him up to take on the champion at that weight class? Who would win that fight? Prime GSP, Prime Fedor in a pound for pound scaled fight, or a personal favorite of mine, Jose Aldo in his prime versus a Prime GSP. But one name has been on top of the hardcore pound for pound list for what feels like decades and decades, and tonight we get to cover what is arguably his most exciting fight, Demetrious Mighty Mouse Johnson, as he takes on the flyweight power puncher John Dodson. So UFC on Fox, Johnson versus Dodson. It wasn't a pay-per-view as the name suggests, and it was shown on free TV. So no buy rate here, but we do have a solid attendance of just over 16,000 at the United Center in Chicago, I should say. Home of CM Punk, but thankfully he isn't fighting on this card or causing locker room drama. And enough talk. Let's just get to the fights. So the prelims, kind of a throwback. Rafael Natal got an arm triangle win over Sean Spencer. Sean Jordan got a TKO over the owner of the most devastating hammer fist I've ever seen still, Mike Russo. Ryan Bader bounced back from 2 straight losses to get a first round guillotine choke over Vladimir Matyushenko. Clay Guida, he got a split decision win at featherweight over Hatsu Hioki. Lastly, TJ Grant got a first round KO over Matt Wyman with some elbows, which was sick. So first up on the main card, we have what is basically a featherweight number 1 contender fight. Eric Koch, the long, lanky counter striker, and Ricardo Lamas, who wasn't being looked at for a title shot initially, I feel like, but after a great streak of wins, including a submission win over Cub Swanson and a win over Hatsu Hioki, he earned his spot here the hard way. Fight opens up with both guys in the open guard matchup. Koch launching more shots that look to go high from it. Lamas goes in for a double, presses Koch to the fence. Koch has some great balance though. Then we go for a body lock. Then an over-under against the cage to really grind on Koch here. This is a means to an end, not the end goal like we see from a lot of wall installers. Lamas gets a great combination of punches into a clinch where he finally gets Koch down to the mat briefly, but Koch gets up, reverses into a dominant clinch position as the round ends. In the second, we see Koch letting go with the hands more, and we see some good striking back and forth with a brief clinch up. Lamas does slip on a kick. Koch tries to move in to take advantage, but he gets taken down from it and now on his back. From here, it's a punch, then a big elbow which cuts Koch open on the right-hand side. Lamas just getting a deep half guard, postures up, more elbows, and the fight gets called in a violently glorious fashion. A technical fight that ends in some great violence. 7.5 out of 10, which for me is almost an 8, but I can honestly see people being turned off by the clinching in the first round. But, you know, I can see that it isn't a Holly homing wall install. It's good stuff. Next up, we have the guy on everyone's favorite cereal box, Anthony Pettis, taking on one of the most fun and entertaining guys to ever fight, Donald Cerrone. So out the gate, the fireworks are starting. Cerrone moves into jab, eats a huge counter right from Pettis. Cerrone looking to step in for a knee, but Pettis goes for a standing cartwheel kick, which is wild. Pettis having a ton of success jabbing, then throwing a right hook off the jab, then ending with a left straight down the middle. Pettis then goes to the body with a huge left body kick that lands super clean with a thud. Pettis then hand fights to push Cerrone to the cage, only to jump off the cage, then knee him immediately after on the same side. One more body kick comes and it is over. Anthony Pettis starches Cowboy Cerrone in the first round with the liver kick. Boss Rutan El Guapo be praised. This fight is fantastic. The only gripe I have with it, it's short. Honestly, that's kind of my only gripe with it. But when Pettis is cooking like this, it's gonna be short. This fight is a clear 9 out of 10 for me, with it being a blast to watch this prime, creative, wondrous Anthony Pettis. Plus, I did some research on the fighters, like I always do, and I saw a ton of controversies pop up for Cerrone, and it was kind of nice to see after reading all that. So, sorry, Cowboy. Now, we have our co-main event of the evening, a light heavyweight fight between the guy at the time who was considered to be on the road to a title in Glover Teixeira, with the other being the legend Rampage Jackson. So out the gate, we see some boxing from the two with some solid head movement from both guys. Glover is showing an uppercut off to mask a level change for a shot, which does come, and he does get Rampage to the floor. Glover looks for an arm triangle when Rampage looks to spin out of mount. Rampage works back to the feet and the boxing is going again, with Glover looking for a bomb while Rampage is staying in tight look in the counter. A good head kick lands for Glover, but Rampage eats it and he's fine. Rampage is looking to change levels here. Glover stuffs it and lands a clean left hook that hurts Rampage. Rampage recovers, looking to circle, a big left hook lands again that drops Rampage face first, and when Glover looks to finish Rampage, Rampage shows his durability and just gets up. Near the end of the round, Rampage is trying to get going and build some momentum, but it is a clear Glover round. Out of the gate in the second round, Glover gets a takedown. He's in half guard while Rampage is trying to use an underhook to get back up. Rampage does get back up to his feet, however, by turning into a single leg. The power in the open has Rampage worried, as Glover is constantly looking to attack afterwards, and he panics a bit before circling out. Rampage looks to try and force a slugfest with some taunting, but Glover's still landing and taunts a little bit back. Just pure domination on the feet with pressure boxing by Glover. Opening of the final round, Rampage is much more active with some good shots back and forth, but after a bit we see a takedown from Glover just put Rampage on the mat. In half guard, we see Glover trying to get another arm triangle. Rampage is defending well with his arms before managing to wall walk back up. From here, Rampage letting loose with some big hooks, but Glover's defending and looking to counter with that left hook as always. Rampage is exhausted and Glover is just keeping the pressure up. The last 30 seconds of the fight though, Glover does get another takedown. Easy mount. Big shots are pouring in, and it looks like if there was about 10 more seconds on the clock, this fight's getting stopped. Glover Teixeira beats the legend by unanimous decision. This fight was pretty alright, actually. I liked it. 7.5 out of 10. Probably the lowest score on the cards. Spoiler. But I love the pressure boxing from Glover, and Rampage looking to swing hard to combat it was fun. But the cardio fails Rampage, and it reflects in the score, I think. But now we have the main event of the evening. So first, let's talk about the challenger, John Dodson. He's weird. He's a goofy dude. He came onto Ultimate Fighter and was known for being a clown that actively did not care about the team format. He got to the finals. He fought TJ Dillashaw and knocked him out so hard that he sent his head right to his local EPO dealer. After that, he got a decision win against Tim Elliott for KOing the #1 ranked flyweight guy outside of the UFC in Jussier Formiga. Mighty Mouse, he wasn't exactly a favorite among the fans here at this point in time. He got a title shot eventually when he came to the UFC against Dominic Cruz, where he got tossed around and was clearly too small for that division's GOAT. He drops to the newly made flyweight division, had a controversial draw that should have honestly been a loss to Ian McCall, then got a decision win against him in the rematch before capturing the title against Joseph Benavidez in an upset. With all these decisions and the controversy of the Ian McCall feud, fans weren't really behind him at the time. So let's see if he can win some fans, John Jones style, like Greg Jackson told him with this. So out the gate, we see the instant speed factor of both guys who are just darting in and out with kicks and stance switches. Mighty Mouse goes high with a kick, it gets caught, he gets thrown down briefly by Dodson. Dodson is content with just circling and countering when he can. Mighty Mouse has Dodson against the cage. Before he can circle, he gets in on the hips, and after some trouble, he does get him down briefly. They break away with more kickboxing until a small clinch against the cage ends the round. Second round, we see the kickboxing again, and there are two good left hands from Dodson that land well. Mighty Mouse nearly gets a takedown, but Dodson does well to avoid the grappling and get back to the striking. A good right hand lead lands from Mighty Mouse off of a stance switch. Another one lands, and Johnson's getting confident. He goes for a clinch, but he leaves his head open for a big combination with a left that drops him briefly. Dodson holds his ground and lands a huge overhand left that drops Mighty Mouse, and he's super hurt for it. Some survival mode takedown attempts happen for DJ, but they do separate, and it looks like DJ's recovering, but he's not quite there as he's nearly brought back down from a caught kick. The round ends with Mighty Mouse moving into a hard knee to get a clinch, but as he does get it, he lands more knees to the ribs, which are genius, honestly. Good round for Dodson here. More of the same kickboxing, but Mighty Mouse ducks in for a level change. He eats a knee for his trouble, but he stays on him, uses it to press Dodson to the cage for more clinching. Mighty Mouse really putting the pressure on when Dodson hits the cage. He jumps up super high over Mighty Mouse for a flying knee. Now the momentum is purely in DJ's favor though, as he is able to just keep putting this pressure on, landing good shots while minimizing how much damage he's taking. Dodson finally gets taken down and he's clean on his back with him having to scoot to the cage to look to wall walk. But after some control time, Dodson does get up, and Johnson closes out a dominant round in my opinion with a great stance switch, lead right hand. Fourth round, and they meet in the middle for the kickboxing once again. Mighty Mouse having the advantage due to his cardio. He gets some combinations before landing a great takedown, with Dodson turning into him only to get into a headlock. Johnson throws a knee here, as it should be legal, let's be honest, and they break it up and warn him about it. Dodson comes out of the break fired up with a good left to the body, but Mighty Mouse is still just on him, never letting up the pressure. Dodson looks lost, only swinging big shots while DJ is lighting him up to the head and to the body. Final round of this championship fight, and DJ is going after it. Big kick into a tie clinch with some good knees up the middle, and it's clear that DJ smells the blood, just going after him constantly. With Dodson looking to tie up, Dodson does get a takedown. Mighty Mouse gets right back up and is in his face. Dodson goes for another takedown, but in the light clinch, Mighty Mouse gets a collar tie and lands a huge knee which stuns Dodson. Constant knees and strikes in the clinch close out the round, and it is a clear, unanimous decision win for the flyweight king, Demetrious Mighty Mouse Johnson. And this fight rocks. I was like halfway through the first round going like, oh, I remember this fight being much better. I don't know, but maybe it's still getting going. But man, that final round and the rest of that fight is amazing. Very technical, fast-paced classic here that is easily a great 9.5 out of 10 for me. I love the game plan of using the range to either be chest to chest or long range with the kicks to avoid the power left hand of Dodson, while also taking advantage of Dodson, who has he normally strikes at a low volume, and with a lot of power, so his cardio is questionable. So attacking that was genius, just genius all around for this fight. So that's it for the card, and what did I think of it? Man, this card is awesome. This card's awesome. Easily an 8.5 out of 10 for me. I really like this card. Tons of great memories with an absolute classic main event. Fantastic stuff. Good job voting on this one, guys. Do you know how to edit? Because we have a ton of stuff here on the channel that we want to do, but time is hard. Me and Carl both work full-time jobs, and we would love a new addition to the team to help out with some editing. And if you're interested, hit up Carl on Twitter or his email. Maybe you have what it takes. You can join the INC family. I mean, that's how I started about a year and so ago. I just hit up Carl and said, I want it, please. And I grew, and look at me. I grew from the scared guy that was nervous last year with the awful haircut to this beautiful, dare I say, near Greek god level of a man that stands before you. I wrote that down for myself. Anyways, I'm Joe with the INC. Thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for watching.